Hello guys, and welcome back to another Tweaker Man video. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to turn a standard mains plug into an audiophile mains plug. It's very simple and easy. This plug is standard. This one has been highly treated and polished. So stay tuned and carry on and follow to watch. So these are the products we need to do the job. We need some Brasso. Okay, this is a wadding version, so it's Brasso soaked in wadding. We need some Deoxit D5. Okay, we need a series of wet and dry papers. So this one here is 800, but what I've done is I do this with it to turn it into a smoother paper. We need some 800 there, which is 800 again, and this one is 400. Okay, and then we need some ultra fine wire wool, 4 noughts. So let's get into the video. Right, okay, here's our plug. We're just going to dismantle it. There we go. So there we go, we've got our neutral and our live there and our earth. So this is our fuse as well, obviously. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be showing you how to smooth out all the contacts. Now if you see that closely, can you see the grooves in the brass there? So what we're going to do, we're going to be smoothing those out so that, and buffing it up to a mirror finish. So let's go. So this is our 400, a Lubrasil paper I called it. This is a grey paper. So all we're going to be doing is putting the contact there onto the edge. And we're going to be rubbing all the grooves out of this. Now you may think that this is mad, and I'm mad, and that's fine. But we take things to the limit, us audiophiles. And the reason we're doing this is we're trying to eliminate micro arcing that happens on all these little grooves that are inside the on the surface where they've been casted, and they don't worry about smoothing it out. Now you can already see that. See, we've done that there, and the grooves have virtually disappeared. So, and why we need different papers is we're going to go up the range of papers so it's smooth. So we're smoothing out all the scratches slowly. See, there's still a little bit there, if you can see it there. See it on the edge there? So we're going to try to smooth that out until that totally goes. Now it's such finite that it won't affect the plug being loose in the socket. It'll be fine. I've done this so many times. When I run my audio business, I used to make a figure of 8 power cord, which I'm actually going to show you how to make as well. There we go. It's virtually gone. And I used to sell my plugs buffed up like so. Now this still isn't as good as a silver plated plug really, but effectively this is your cheapest way to achieve an audiophile plug on a budget. Now these plugs come from Screwfix, and their cheapest chips, they're about £1.52, £1.53, something like that. And but I've tried so many plugs and I really like these because they're nice and sturdy, and they're called a tough plug, a bit like the MK, but these are peanuts to buy. The MK ones work out to about £6 or £7, and if you go on eBay you can see that people do this on eBay as well. Now I already came up with this idea long ago. Back in 2004 I was doing this with my plugs. If you've got a plug on a power cord already and you can't take the pins out, it's a moulded plug, you can do this, but a lot of those ones tend to be nickel plated, so you don't really want to rub the nickel off. But there we go, it's going really well now. So we've got that angle bit there, so we're rubbing down the angle bit as well. So we've done that, and then just onto the top. There we go, and along this edge here, because you can see there's still grooves and that on the edge there. See that? So we want to cut those out as well. Okay, that's all gone there. Bit more on there. And then we want to go onto this face here. That's it. And onto that one there. Right, okay, so now we're going to just go up the grades of the wet and dry now. So we're starting on 800 now. Just going to give it another quick rub down on either side. And then onto that face there. Onto that face. Whoops. Then onto those side bits. Now we're going to be treating this plug with the Deoxit afterwards, and it improves the surface. I used to use Deoxit all the time when I ran the audio business. Every plug that I used, every RCA plug, every banana plug, I always treated with Deoxit. Right, okay, so we've done that with the 800 now. Now we're going to go over to this piece of 800 which I've made smoother. You can use a bit of 1200 or 2000, but this is equivalent to around about 2000 now. So we're going to be just rubbing it down again each side. We're gradually making it smoother. I'll show you in a minute. You can gradually see how smoother that's becoming now. See that there? So, and then as you can see, the Brasso is what we're going to be using to buff the surface up to a mirror finish. So we're just finishing off the with this last grade, and now we're going to use a piece of this steel wool again. So this is going even finer now. So we basically take the steel wool. I'm just going to buff the surface up with that. I mean, this is quite time consuming, so you really need to sort of, you know, sit back and take your time with it. And it's these pins, the end pins, that the bit that touch the inside of the contacts of the your mains plug. It's a wall socket, I should say. So if you see any little grooves or indentations on the surface, you need to just carry on with the sandpaper until you get them away. So I think that's about nearly it. Right, okay, so that's about that for now with the wire wool. And now we're going to switch over to the Brasso now. So what you also need is you're going to need a bit of buffing cloth just to buff up the contacts and that after you've used your Brasso. So we'll chop a bit of this buffing cloth off. Put that to one side. Now you can see through the magnifying glass now. You get quite close to that. It's difficult to see through that still, but all of those marks have all come out. There's no more grooves on there, no casting marks. So we get our Brasso now, and you just rip a bit off, and you can see the black as it comes off, you see. So all we're going to be doing is working this in. And I'll do a part of it now, and then I'm going to pause the video and carry on because it takes a while, and then I'll come back when I'm nearing the end just to show you how well it comes up. There we go. Look, it's already coming up really shiny now. Oh, you can't see it there. Can you see it there? There you go. Look at that. You can see it in the mirror there. So I've got a mirror surface coming. So I'm going to carry on with that, and I'll be back soon. Okay, so with that one's finished, that pin, it's gone nice and mirrored effect on there. This is the other one which the fuse fits into, so that's what I'm going to be buffing up next. So I'm going to do that and come back. Okay. Right, okay, so we've got all our pins nicely buffed up, so we're just going to give them a final buff in, all of them. So this is our earth pin. We heavily sanded it. Well, I say heavily, when I'm talking about heavily sanding it, I'm talking about very fine paper. So we're not even taking a fraction of a millimetre off. All we're trying to do is just to smooth it out to stop any micro arcing happening on the metal surface. Right, okay, so we're going to leave that one there for a minute. We'll go on this one. This is our live pin. And this is our neutral. Right, so where the fuse is on the fuse holder, so we've got a bit of a fuse holder, the first part of it, on top of this pin here. So what we're going to be doing is just taking our wadding soaked in Brasso. We're just going to give it a bit of a wipe through, just to make sure that the surface hasn't oxidised at all. Okay, so now we've got our second part of it here. Okay, this is the second part where the wire goes into. Just run that through there a bit more as well, just to make sure you get any oxidisation off the surface of this. Okay, and then this is the fuse. Now these Bushman fuses, I used to use these all the time, and they used to have silver plated end caps, but for nowadays they seem to have substituted it for nickel plated. So all we're going to be doing is getting our Brasso wadding and making sure there's no oxidisation going on the ends. Just going to buff them over a bit. Same with this one, this end. Okay, so now we've got all those done, we're going to buff everything up. And we're going to, okay, it's going to be nice and, that's come up nice and shiny. Okay, these are all our pins. These have come up to a mirror finish. There we go, that's one. Make sure there's no haze on the surface of it. We really want to get it nice and buffed up, you can see there. And then we've also got a buff inside here to make sure there's nothing, no Brasso left in there. You can use a cotton bud to do this as well. That's that bit. Just buff up this earth pin. Right, there you go. Look how nice and shiny that is. Look at that. It's come out as smooth as silk. That is. It's gorgeous. Right, and we're just going to do the same here on the fuse housing as well, just to make sure there's nothing on there. Just get a piece of cloth through there, just run it backwards and forwards just to make sure there's nothing in there now. And it's just, all it's doing is just taking the oxidisation off of where metal tends to degrade over a period of time. Right, okay, so this is all buffed up, everything's ready to go. So, oops, drop that one. Right, okay, so now I'm going to put all our components down. This piece of MDF has got a bit dirty, so we're going to turn this over now, and then we're going to put all these parts back on there. And now we're going to take our Deoxit D5. Okay, so we're going to give it this a good blast of Deoxit all inside there. Now, smother the fuse in Deoxit as well. Right, okay, we'll leave that for a few seconds. then what we're going to do is we're going to wipe them down now. It's very good stuff, this Deoxit. It works really well. Okay, let's wipe this off. Right, then we give it a second blast of Deoxit, and then we can fit the plug back up, and we leave the Deoxit on there to dry off. Generally takes around about 3 minutes or so, maybe 5 minutes. It says 3 minutes on the tin, but I'm sure it might take a bit longer than that. Now you can use Deoxit Gold over the top of this as well, which is generally made for plating, but it works really well as well. There we go. So we've got our plug housing back here again now, and now we're going to just pop all this back in. Goes in there, that goes in there. Put the earth in and the neutral, and then pop our fuse back in. Right, now we've just got to pop our lid back on there, and then just screw it back up. Right, just give that a slight wipe. Just leave the residue on there drying on its own. And there we go. Our Audiophile plug. Look at that, it's beautiful. All the pins are perfectly polished. It's like gold plated, although it's not, it's just brass that's been highly sanded, buffed into a gloss finish. There's no ridges on this now, it's totally perfectly smooth. So we're going to get no micro arcing going on there at all. So all I've got to say is thanks for watching another Tweaker Man video. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to give this video a like. Thanks for watching.